This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Welcome back to Lee Pitts Live. Our first guest is Dr. Habash. He's the Director of Student-Related Services at Lee County School District. Welcome to the show, man.
Glad to be here.
Well, first of all, I got to get you. I know it's your first time on Lee Pitts Live. You have to know that you never outdress the host of the show. What you got to say about
I apologize for that. The seersucker, I like to break it out when it's over 90 degrees out. So,
Man, you're looking dapper. I started to wear
that.
my seersucker, too. Now, tell us about that ring you got on there.
The significance of this ring, it's a Rotary South.
Hold it up a little bit.
Rotary South All-Star ring.
Okay.
So representing Lee County and all the good work that Rotary does for our students.
Mm-hmm. Now, when we introduced you, that was your short title. Your title's a lot broader than that. Go ahead and give your complete.
I'm Director of Student Services. I oversee school counselors, social workers, nurses, and also the County Athletic Director. Oversee athletics for the district.
Excellent. Now, how would you describe your job in terms of how you personally feel about having that opportunity to impact students in the way you do?
Well, I'm real passionate about it. My background is I'm a former high school principal. I served as a principal in Lee County for 10 years, both at the middle and high school level. I love kids, I love athletics, and I have a passion for kids. And student discipline is right down my alley.
That's excellent. Now, are you the bad guy? You the last person the students want to see?
I'm the bad guy, but I'm the good guy. But yeah, I deal with more of the more serious offenses committed by students.
Okay, we'll talk about
Unfortunately, yeah.
that. What is the philosophy of student discipline at the school district?
Well, first and foremost, as a former principal, I can tell you there's nothing more important than safety and security on a school campus. Amidst chaos, teaching and learning cannot occur. So we're strict here in Lee County. We have a code of conduct that's very strict. With that said, students and kids mess up sometimes, so we have to be there to support them and teach them so we don't see them back again in the office.
Now, we may think that for the most part, we hear about a wide range of things that happen at the school district as it relates to the discipline of children, but we don't hear everything, right? And why is that?
You can't hear everything. It's a violation of federal law. So FERPA protects student records and anything related to student discipline. That's frustrating at times because oftentimes the media and one side of a story will get out. District can't respond because of federal law protecting those issues right there. So we really can't comment on specific students, mention student names or anything related to student records.
I'm glad that the public knows that, because a lot of times we think, oh, it's public record, everybody needs to know everything. So students have their own degree of privacy as well.
Absolutely. Federal law protects that.
So a student that gets in a fight, what are some of the possible outcomes if that student gets in a fight?
I could tell you every fight is different, and it really depends on where the fight occurred. You could have a fight in a cafeteria with 500 students, and I've been there and I've seen it many, many times, and you've got students standing on top of cafeteria tables, chairs, videotaping. That, to me, is a major fight. You could have a fight behind the gymnasium with 3 people involved. So every fight is different, consequences are different. You're asking about what's the punishment? It could range from you and I meeting, the principal and the student, or out-of-school suspension, in-school suspension, Saturday school, parent conference, but it depends on the fight.
Dr. Bohatch, you said you came out of the school system as a principal. Just in general, off the top of your head for all practical purposes, back when I was in school and now, is it more fights or less fights, or it depends on the school or whatever?
There's always been fights. There were fights when I was in high school, and that was a long time ago. I think what's complicated issues now is social media.
That's right, okay.
If you're going there with that, and fights are now recorded, posted onto Facebook. Hundreds of people can now view a fight that occurred on a school campus. That really makes it more difficult for school principals to maintain, safe and orderly environments.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Social media, good thing or bad thing overall?
I think overall, good thing.
Okay. Why?
Misused, absolutely. Why is it a good thing?
Tell me some of the good things about it.
You're able to communicate success stories with parents. It's instant communication with stakeholders. Bad things, the kids who are unaware of the dangers surrounding social media. Putting something out there just doesn't go away. A text message stays. A posting on Twitter stays. Facebook stays. And I lived it the last few years as a principal, and I can tell you it's challenging.
And it's not going away.
No, it's not going away.
One of the things we talked about early on, you talked about students have rights and due process. That sounds really like the courtroom. But Talk about due process. How that work? Give me an example how that would work with a student.
No, that's a great question. Let's do a little role play. I'm going to be the assistant principal, and you're going to be the student. You're a 12th grader. You're Lee Pitts.
Am I an honor student? I mean, I was an honor student in 12th grade.
I think that you are definitely an honor student, and by the looks of you, you're a football player. And you've been on homecoming court and all that good stuff.
And I was the president of the student government in high school in real life. So, okay,
that's
let
cool,
me be president of the student government because I got in trouble even as president.
All right, so I'm the assistant principal, and I've just received this referral for Lee Pitts, 12th grader, that you were skipping 6th period English class yesterday. Talk to me about it.
Well,
were you skipping?
Yes and no, doctor. You see, what happened was I was coming down the hall and I saw Melanie, cheerleader, and I've been trying to get her phone number for many years. And so I saw her go into the ROTC room, and I waited outside the room so when she comes out, I could get her phone number. But she took so long to come out. But I loved her so much that I missed my class.
Okay, you were skipping. Okay. You're going to serve Saturday school. That's a perfect example of due process. I could have called you in and said you were skipping. Here's the consequence. But what did I do? I asked you. I gave you the opportunity. Now, on the other end of it, it could be a more formal, you were suspended for fighting. Write down a statement. We'll investigate it. Your parents come in, we talk. There's more of a formal meeting that has all the different, you could have the school counselor, school resource officer, your parents. So due process occurs whenever student discipline is issued.
I'm glad we had that role play down, just for information purposes. I remember when I was in high school, if you missed a class, I don't recall having to go to the principal's office or anything. If you missed a lot of classes, then you might get noticed. So nowadays they track once you wrote, I guess a computer says, hey, this person is at school. Technology now allows all this to be tracked, right?
Makes it a little more difficult for you to stop and get somebody's phone number and miss class. Absolutely.
Gotta get the phone
It's
number.
closely monitored because if you're not in class, you're somewhere where you're not supposed to be. So that's why it's so important.
And do we have a lot of that? Students missing class? Or
No.
Because they know they're being tracked, they get there?
Yeah. We have students that do skip class, but I can tell you the majority of students go to class.
Excellent. What are some of the important things that parents need to know in talking to students and handling campus conflicts with their peers?
I think you hit the nail right on the head. You said use the word talk. Talk to your kids. I think that we're missing that in today's society. I was sitting at a traffic light the other day. I looked over. There was a mom, dad, and 2 kids in the back, and they were all on their cell phones. I didn't see any type of interaction going on. Talk to your kids. It's real important. There's a lot of research out there that supports talking to your kids 15 minutes a day makes a difference, and just find out what's going on.
How does a school resource officer play into the big picture?
I think they're critical. We have them in all the middle schools and all the high schools, and we don't want them there just to be the strong arm, but they need to be seen, by students as somebody they can go to and talk to. They've all been trained too in GATE and Radical, which is an anti-bullying and gang awareness training, and a lot of them get into the classrooms and interact with students on a daily basis. So they're not just there for the shield; they're there to interact and be a resource for the kids. So
when you go to sleep at night, what do you think about, or what keeps you up at night? Actually, say, hey, I hope this doesn't happen, or something like that.
As a principal, I can tell you most nights were sleepless because
Really?
The constant pressure, 2,000 students on a campus, anything can happen anywhere, any school, anytime. What keeps me up now possibly is not much now that I'm out of a school setting, but I can tell you, principal, that's the toughest job in the system, is being a school principal, without a doubt.
But the fact that you bring that to your spot now helps a lot in terms of you understanding what's going on.
Absolutely.
Boots on the ground.
Yeah, I'm not a smart guy. I have a lot of experience, and I'm able to share my experiences with a lot of the principals and new principals out there because I've seen about everything in close to 25 years in this business.
Okay, and we have your website on the screen where people can go and find out all about the Lee County School District. One final question. You mentioned that you were over the athletics.
Yes, sir.
Just give me a broad how excited or we can expect athletic programs to be this year in the Lee County School District.
I love it. We have first-class athletics here. If you take a walk down the hallway here in between sessions here, we've got a Hall of Fame. We've got folks in the NFL and just a rich history of great athletic talent here in Lee County dating back over 100 years. Proud to be associated with that. That's my passion. I love it.
Well, I'm looking forward to one day down the road having Lee Pitts live at one of your athletic events, just like game day, the whole set, the whole lights, everything will make that happen.
I think that'd be great.
I think so too. Let's bump you out. Stay right there. As the saying goes in this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like Dr. Habash and all the fine people here Bohatch, and all the fine people here at Lee County School District who are doing it. We'll be right back.